Alright guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to show you 3 other business ideas you can start with your large format machine other than the regular SAV or banners as you have them. When it comes to large format printing, most people make the mistake of thinking you can only print banners and stickers. But watch this video till the end and I may just have opened your eyes to 3 other business ideas you could have used your machine for that are not obvious to you at the moment. Please note, some of us have known this for a long time and have made money with it for years. And then secondly, I have listed them in the order of their operational cost, from the least cost intensive to the greatest intensive. So let us go. But before we continue, I want you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, join our membership. With the membership, you get access to more resources that others don't have access to. So you have access to some informations that come first to the subscribers who are paid subscribers than the ones who just watch. Of course, I'm fine with anyone who doesn't want to pay us on the channel, but why not pay us on the channel so that you can keep us continuously serving you with content that will help you. So if you think we've been a blessing to you, why not reach out to us? Anyways, let's just go on. Starting from the least to the greatest is the printable vinyl business. Now, this has been around for about 10 years in my country, at least. Funnily, at one time, it dominated our fashion industry. In fact, it was the only way we could print full-color images onto fabric that was both reasonable and scalable. Now, not many people know that as early as 2022, only 1% of the printing world knew what the DTF was, and much lesser than that had the machine. Of course, today, a lot of people have the machine, and I get calls from so many people these days. About 20 to 30% of the calls I get on WhatsApp are about DTF machine these days. So that shows you how much DTF has become a thing. But before that time, the principal way we print full color on fabric reasonably and realistically was using printable vinyls. In Nigeria, we call it print and cut. Now, think of a white flex fashion vinyl material on steroids. Like, this material could withstand the corrosive tendencies of the eco solvent. Your natural flex material or flock could not withstand that very deadly chemical we call eco solvent. Now, once you are able to load it into your large format machine, which is not very difficult, you load it like your general banner or SAV. It's pretty small, it's about 20 inches long, but once you get it loaded onto your machine, and once it is printed and dried, we take it to a plotter and then we cut it. The cutting is a little tricky because you need a separate plotter and then you need a separate software called Sign Master on that plotter to be able to get your artwork in the very shape that you want it. So by the time you cut, you then weed out your necessary parts and then you leave the image that you need. This process just helps us to cut the image into the particular shape we want, and then we take the excess whiteouts and then throw them in the trash. Now we apply the sticky parts by heat transfer to the fabric. So that's pretty much how it works. Very simple. Get a material, print on that material like you would SAV or banner, and then you take that material to the plotter like you would do your general SAV, and then you cut it out. The difference here is that the vinyl can stick to fabrics permanently, especially if you heat it well. Of course, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Roland can do it all at once and better. Well, yes, that's quite correct. However, Roland is the really expensive way of doing what you can do for half the price, or maybe even lesser, depends on your country. Now, if you have a large format machine and a vinyl cutter, you can do the exact same thing and even cheaper. This has its uses in varied applications like t-shirt, face caps, window blind, and so many more. I must add that with the introduction of the DTF, we no longer require printable vinyl because of its natural tendencies. It fades after a while and it has a tendency to peel off if you don't heat it properly after transfer. In Nigeria, we still see many people use this today. The famous application will be on window blinds, because for t-shirts, the DTF covers that spectrum much easily and much better. In terms of cost, it's by far the cheapest because all you need is to buy the printable vinyl, which costs less than $150 at the very most. Of course, I'm assuming you already have a cotton plotter, a heat press in your shop. If you don't have these, then that will increase your cost. If you need further information on how to set it up, you can reach me on the number at the description of this video. Now let's go to number 2. I'm sure you've seen all of those beautiful interior decoration designs in those really rich and expensive homes. Have you ever wondered how they are made? Well, they use the same large format printers to print them. Of course, it has its own intricacies. The materials are quite different. They are different from the regular banners and SAB materials. They are under the category of what you call canvas materials, and they come in different textures. The most posh of them and the most effective one is the silk material. But these interior decorations are two types. We have the wall murals, and then the second one is the 3D floor tiles. The 3D floor tiles are just as beautiful and dramatic as the wall murals. For the 3D floor tiles, you have the material already. They are made of your regular SAV, but for better effects, you would really need a high grammage SAV, like 160 grams above. But I think the most critical of this is the images, because the images have to be really high resolution photographs or digital designs. This has a market of its own. Shutterstock, deposit photos, and the like come to mind. And mind you, they are paid photographs or designs, and they are not cheap. They are in dollars, so you have to convert, and so you have to get ready to pay quite heavily to buy those images. However, one thing I really need to stress is that if your machine is not in good condition, you cannot run a wallpaper printing shop, because wallpaper prints are very detail conscious. I can assure you that. The images must be rendered convincing enough to the observer. The idea is to install it on the wall or as a 3D floor tile, so the image quality and the print quality cannot be any degree less than perfect. Like, if you don't have a good machine, if your machine is drawing lines, just forget it. Like, the 3D business is not for you. But then, aside from this, the fact is that you already have the most critical infrastructure to get into this business. You have the very same large one machine, and it's quite profitable. Like I said earlier, if you need consultation on how to get into this business, you can leave a message on my WhatsApp line or on the number in the description below. Again, in terms of cost, it's slightly higher than the first one I mentioned, because you have to go through the rigor of buying large stock of 3D images for printing, because your customers would need to make a choice, and you also have to invest heavily in the material. Each of those rolls of material costs about 400 to 480,000 naira per roll, and that's about $250 per roll, at times exclusive of shipping. Now, this is like an additional 1.5 million naira, or about $1,000 additional cost. But then, if you can do this, you can triple that money if you're lucky to land a gig in about maybe 2 or 3 months. So it's like really, really profitable. In Nigeria, I must tell you, the market is quite saturated, but anyone with a good dream can still break through quite easily. Now, you can decide to go into this business or probably stay with the first one, but then you know better. I'm just trying to show you something else you can do with your large format machine other than what you're currently doing with it right now. Number 3. The last of this is the box or package printing. In the COVID year, I was invited to Cotonou to repair a machine, and it turned out that the customers used an eco-solvent printer to print on smooth carton papers. Like, that was actually my first time seeing this angle of the large format business. He secures a comfortable contract with the breweries around his office to print their product cartons. It was like in an industrial environment, so he was the only guy printing their cartons. It was a whole new workaround to an old problem to me. Most people would use an offset printer like cord to print on the paper, but he was the first person I know who used this method to achieve phenomenal results. I can assure you it was phenomenal. The good part about his setup was that it was quite simple, and while it was still quite expensive, his method of using large format as the printer actually cut about 35% of what would have been the original cost had he gone the traditional way. His setup included printing the full colored part on the top layer of the light card. The thickness was usually about 150 grams to 200. The surface came on a really huge roll, more like the way nylon rolls are in before you brand them. This is preloaded on a special rig at the back and is stationed at the back of the large format machine. Then the card paper stock is fed into the large format from the back. and then the prints happen. Now, once printed, the printed rolls are then transferred to the glue section where the surface card is glued to the corrugated back layer. After this, it is then cut into large sizes for folding, then transferred to the trimming section, after which it is made into a branded carton. Now, like I said, pretty simple. You print and then you gum on top of the corrugated surface, which is like first. So the first part is just the printing part on full color, and then the other part is just the remaining packaging section. But his use of large format as the printing area made the thing just like, it just went wild. Now, I must say that of the three ideas, the package printing is like the hardest and the most cost intensive of the three. That's why I put it the last. The first two ideas you can start in your shop for as low as $1,000 or more, maybe slightly more, maybe highest, maybe 1,200 of additional inputs to be able to get them. But this one is way on the top, right? It requires an extensive setup. There's a way to minimize the cost of entry into this ecosystem though, especially if you are just starting. What you could do is that you can decide to concern yourself with printing only the top layer associated with the large format machine. All you will just need to do is get a brick at the back that will serve as an external stand for the paper roll. However, assuming you have a partnership with someone who doesn't want to concern himself with the initial top layer printing process, you can do this as a research first before entering into the business. Otherwise, find a peg around the first two business ideas I laid out earlier. If you need a one-on-one consultation on how to get into this business, you can leave a message on my WhatsApp line on the number in this video description or in my channel description. I think of the three business ideas, the easiest one to enter into is the printable vinyl. For me, I would just stay in the middle, which is like the wallpaper printing, but then it has an additional cost of about 1.5 million to about 2.5 million naira, which comes to your $1,200 or maybe $1,300. Either ways, any of the three business ideas is perfect for you depending on how well you want to stretch your pocket or how thin you want to leave it. I hope this has helped you. If it has, I want you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you next time in another video. Bye. Take care.